Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Swiss Money Solution, the show providing you with more financial tools than a Swiss Army knife. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio is Jurg Eichmann. He is the CEO of Swiss American Financial Solutions. We've got a really fun show for you today. We know that one of the most challenging things when it comes to retirement planning is knowing what to do when to set yourself up for success. So the title of today's show is Mark Your Calendars, and we're going to be covering almost 25 years of key milestone birthdays you want to keep in mind that can have a direct impact on your success in retirement. Jurg, my friend, it's always a joy to be here in the studio with you. How are you this week?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Oh, well, it's such a joy to have these conversations. I look forward to this time with you each and every week. You are such a treasure trove of a wealth of knowledge that can really help set people up for success in retirement. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. You know, it's funny, we're going to be talking about aging today, and typically aging doesn't always have the best connotation, right? It can come with aching backs, gray hair, a lot of things maybe not working the way they used to in our lives. But from a financial planning perspective, there's lots of key birthdays to look forward to. And I know we're going to be covering a lot of ground today, a lot of important subjects.
Right. Yep. By the way, you know, isn't it funny? I heard now from some of my friends back in Switzerland who are in the pharma industry, they're saying, oh yeah, that pill's coming that's going to reverse your aging 15 years. You know what? Guess what? You need to live another 15 years. Oh, you better be prepared and have enough money for that 15 years as well.
I can't imagine what the price tag on that's going to be if someone's cracked that code, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Well, but you really do. You help people in all areas, in all stages of life. And really, the sooner you start, the easier it's going to be for someone potentially for their success in retirement, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? One of the birthdays that we're actually not talking about today should be a birthday that I would reinvent or invent that would be mandatory on my list. I know, there we go, mandates, right? But imagine if you knew by age 50 what your Social Security benefit taxation is going to look like and how that's going to affect your overall retirement. I would make a mandated 2-day course by the time you reach age 50. So 12 to 18 years before you make the decision to take Social Security benefit, you'll be perfectly informed and do the right thing and probably save a lot on taxes.
Wow. That, you know, so age 50 is the first birthday on our list here. And I've had this conversation with other people in the industry, and no one has ever pointed out that specific part of retirement planning at age 50. So again, planning early for Social Security, which of course we're going to get to later on, so key. What else at age 50 makes it such an important milestone from a financial planning perspective?
Very good question. So because that's really the first big one, you have to understand that now you can contribute more to your retirement plans, right? That's a very important part. If you do this for anywhere from 10 to 15 years, assuming you're retiring at the regular retirement age, that's going to make a huge difference. So imagine if that, you know, in $7,000, $8,000 with catch-up contributions for your IRAs, the $23,500 that you now can contribute to your 401ks.
And you can put up to $31,500 now, right? In 2025 if you're over age 50. Yeah.
And then you can, if you are self-employed, you have your own SEP, you can put a lot of money into the SEP now as well. If you start doing that early, you might actually end up being a multimillionaire by the time you retire.
And that's so encouraging for folks to hear, because I think typically most folks wish they had started sooner, right?
Correct.
You know, whether you start at age 30 or 40 or 50, you're going to say, I wish I had known what I know now back then because of the power of compound interest. So for someone who maybe got a later start with retirement planning, these catch-up contributions can make a huge difference later on in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we see this all the time. The consequences of that, of course, is you're going to have more pre-tax money, right? Or you might do Roth 401ks, which is even better.
Yes, because a lot of companies are offering those now.
Those are wonderful. Yeah, they're absolutely spectacular. I mean, if you look at what that does to your overall taxation scenario when you get older, when you actually pay taxes, when it's a simple tax line 10, 12, 22, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to change. After the sunset provision kicks in 2025, your 12 will be 15. Your 22, 25, and the big one, 24, will be 28% again. That's an I mean, a tremendous change. So we will see what the new administration is going to do
because I was
this
going to
year.
say, if Congress does nothing, we know tax rates are set to go back up. But regardless, we want to set you up for success for no matter. That's legislative risk, right? We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So age 50, the first milestone. Now, the next birthday on our list is actually a half birthday. This is kind of funny. You know, I think as kids, we get really excited. We say, oh, I'm 4.5. Yay, I'm 5.5. We kind of stop celebrating the half birthday along the way. But when you get to age 59.5, that is a key birthday for retirement planning. Why is that?
Absolutely, because basically now you're starting to gain control over your own investments that you might have with your employer, right? So most companies will allow you to have access to that and essentially make decisions that no longer in the hands of a 401k plan administrator. You can now convert this or roll it into a IRA or Roth IRA or whatever you want to do with it, pay the taxes now or continue to have it tax deferred. But we always say you want to really understand what the consequences are of 401k. We have many clients that come to our office, they're 70 and they still have a 401k account. I said, like, so here's a little plug, by the way. This is obviously a great show. Okay, can you see how long I'm doing this? I'm holding up a DVD.
I love that.
When was that the last time you used a DVD? Right? This is ridiculous. Anyway, so I use this because it says everything. It says The Retirement Gamble. This was a great show on Frontline. It's free. You can download it on YouTube. Okay. Please make this a mandatory watch item on your list. Take that 45, 50 minutes. It will show you what happened to the 401ks during 2008-9, right? Remember those days?
Oh,
right?
Yes. Yeah. I was living in New York City at the time, and you could feel the weight of what so many people were being devastated by. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, we've seen people that were basically 2 years before retirement, they had all this money. Next thing you know, their title company closed out, and the title manager was at the end of the Beltway at the Safeway store. I mean, it's absolutely tragic what happened. We made jokes before. We said the 401k turns into 201k. It was absolutely devastating. I always said, you know what? It was so terrible. I got pre-declined credit cards in my mail. So, you know.
No, it was a bad time.
It was a bad time.
So many folks then have been lulled to sleep because we have had the longest bull run market, right? 13-year run. Of course, then COVID happened. We've had some volatility, of course, the last couple of years. But I think for folks who lived through 08, 09, there's always that fear that this could happen again. And so another thing to think about in your decade of your 50s is managing the appropriate amount of risk you're taking with your investments, right?
Yes, exactly. Very good point. Because you should learn from the past, right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity.
Yes.
Right? By the way, there's another person that was one of my favorite people when I grew up was Albert Einstein. Don't you look around right now in the world and think like, am I insane or is the whole world going nuts right now? So I just want you to keep that in mind when you do retirement planning and you go into investments and you have that, what we call the FOMO, fear of missing out, because the neighbor said, oh, look, there's gold, there's Bitcoin. I'm not saying you shouldn't do any of this stuff, but you got to have some path to understand what the consequences are of everything you're doing once you lead up to retirement.
Yes. Yep, for sure. So again, hold up that DVD so our viewers can see on YouTube. It's called The Retirement Gamble, right?
Exactly, yeah. So you will know more than 90% of Americans will know and what to expect when the next major crisis is coming. And it's not if, but when.
Right. Well, I know part of the solution that you offer at Swiss American Financial Solutions is your Smart and Ready retirement plan. We want to give our viewers an opportunity to connect with you to claim that complimentary plan. Why don't you explain a little bit about what goes into that and what folks can expect when they call into the show today?
Would love to. Thanks for the opportunity. So we're a little different. We don't start with what you should be invested in. We start in a different approach by saying, you don't build your house before you consult an architect, before you actually pour the foundation, start building walls. That's got to be an absolute must. Nobody thinks that, I know I do it backwards, I'll build the roof first. However, in the financial industry, and what Jim and I see so often when people come to our meetings or even to our events, and they're just saying like, well, you know, my broker said I'll be fine over the next 10 years, the market's always going up. So they're like, well, you know, the sequence of return that we mentioned a couple times, that could be completely different outcome. We actually show one scenario where someone has $1 million safe, 4% and they take 4% out every single year. So they say that the first year, it's going to be +7, +15, +29, -15. This shows, if that sequence of return shows exactly that curve, guess what? They have enough money until age 92. If the -15 is in the third year instead of the first year, that money lasts to age 88. If they did, and that's the actual return, year end, 2008-9, if you had a -15 in the first year, you would run out of money at age 82. That's a 10-year difference just on 4 years of return. So please, start with building a clear fiduciary retirement plan. Ours is called Smart and Ready for a good reason, because you will be smart when you're done with it, and you're absolutely ready to not just go through retirement, but enjoy retirement. That will lead you to tax planning, right? So if you start with this early on, and you have plenty of years that you can give yourself, you can do Roth IRA conversion, so that pre-tax amount now can maybe be converted even before you start Social Security benefits. You might plan to take a couple of years and slowly convert before you start taking Social Security benefits. Again, it's not for everyone. That's why it's called an individual Smart and Ready retirement plan. And then finally, we'll present you with a blueprint that combines your retirement plan with the tax strategies, Roth IRA conversions, required minimum distribution reports, and lead you to a clear 2-page, 11 by 18 laminated report with everything you need to know on there. Your wife will understand it. Your husband will understand it. If you're the wife, one of the 70% of females that will be in full control of most of the world's financial assets in the next 10 years, you might want to really partake in that process.
Well, so much value packed into this Smart and Ready financial plan, retirement plan. So Jurg, thank you for explaining that. And if you are wanting to get your hands on your own, again, you can claim yours completely complimentary. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call the number at the bottom of your screen to schedule your time to come in and meet with a team of Swiss American Financial Solutions to receive your very own Smart and Ready retirement plan. That number to call is 855-620-2567, or you're also welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to dive into the decade of your 60s and cover the key milestone birthdays for retirement planning. Stay with us.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to the Swiss Money Solution, where today, Jurg Eichmann, the CEO of Swiss American Financial Solutions, and I, your host, Kristen Oakley, are going through almost 25 years of key milestone birthdays, things that you need to be aware of for your success in retirement. If you're just joining us, we've covered the decade of your 50s. It's time now to cover the decade of your 60s. So congratulations, someone has turned 60 years old. This is an important decade. A lot goes on from a retirement planning perspective, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So whether you take your Social Security benefits at 62 or 70, you're going to take it in one of these 8 years, right?
Yes.
Because you have to at some point.
Right. Well, the amount of the check doesn't go up beyond age 70, so there's no point to wait, right?
Excellent point. Yes, absolutely. So I always say this is actually the most detrimental change in your life. Because what happens now is what I always mention. Do you understand what your provisional income taxation is? And again, in front of tens of thousands of people over the last couple decades, not one person ever raised their hands. Okay, we don't go into details, but the bottom line is there's a separate method to tax your Social Security benefits. They take in 4 different elements. Number one is they use 50% of your Social Security benefits. They add all your ordinary income. Now, what's ordinary income? pensions, right? Rental income, you might
Yep.
still work. You might have other incomes. Then they add all your dividends and capital gains. And last but not least, this is always the craziest thing that I always shake my head, say what? They add non-taxable interest. What's non-taxable interest? Muni bonds. Thank you.
Which most people use as a tax-free investment, right?
They think it's 100% tax-free, but
Right.
it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they use all these four elements. And if you go above $44,000, ladies and gentlemen, on that total income, guess what? Up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can become taxable. We show an example of Bill who goes to Vegas and he wants to go to a Chicago concert. It's a real story. And he didn't ask his consultant before he came to us. He took it from his IRA.
Oh, gosh.
Guess what? That IRA turned into $1,850 of taxable income because not only did he have to pay taxes on $1,000 from withdrawing a pre-tax account, it also triggered $850 of Social Security benefits
Oh my
to be
gosh.
taxable as well in the effective marginal rate.
Wow.
So we call this the Social Security tax torpedo. And most people are completely unaware of it.
Yes. And another thing I'll add to this, so not only is it mind-blowing about the taxation of Social Security, but just because you can claim as early as 62 doesn't mean that it's necessarily the best thing for you to do, especially if you're still working. Talk about the give backs that come into play, because I find a lot of folks aren't even aware of that.
Well, so going back to Social Security benefits overall, right? I usually ask our folks at all of our events, I say, like, listen, what is the right time? Who would say it's the best if you take it at 62? I would say about a third of the room raises their hands.
Right.
Then I say, who thinks it's best to wait until full retirement age? The other third. And then, of course, at age 70, the other third.
Yeah.
I always tell them, what's the correct answer? All of the above.
It depends. It depends
exactly.
on so many factors. Yes. Yeah.
Do you have longevity, right? I had two grandparents who lived to be 100. I have one grandparent who was 99. Well, with what we talked about earlier, I might live to 150.
Right.
Okay, great. Awesome. So bottom line is are there health issues? Did you have anything that happened to your life? Or your wife's life, right? Then there's another consideration. Should I really take it early because I think, it's going to go out of business soon? No, the government's not go out of business. Go and read up how Social Security benefits are actually funded. Sell bonds on the open market, yada, yada, yada. Just go and look it up. It's just a good idea. And in case somebody says,
understand, for sure.
Understand it, inform, get information. That's great.
Yep.
So that's an important factor. But again, if you have a clear financial retirement plan, it will do the trick for you. You don't have to guess. You will actually have an educated, informational peace of mind that shows you, if I take mine at age 67, God forbid something happens to me earlier and my wife or my husband is only getting the larger of the two as the survival benefit.
Yep.
I need to make sure that my spouse has at least one large source of income that comes from the government for the rest of her life.
Yes, and that's the important thing to understand is that when a married couple, when one spouse passes away, you're going to lose one of those Social Security checks, but you do get to keep the higher of the two. So this is why it's really important to look at all these personal factors, because a lot of times that can far outweigh the math of when you should claim anywhere between age 62 and age 70. And if you're still working prior to your full retirement age, guess what? They're going to penalize you. You're going to have to give back some of your benefit, meaning they withhold it from you. So again, if you're still working or not, that can come into play as well. There's another key birthday we have to talk about in this decade of our 60s. That's age 65.
Yep.
And with age 65 comes the very important M word, which is
Medicare.
Yes.
Yes.
Talk about another huge decision to make, right?
Sure is, yes. And actually, I call him the expert in our office. Jim Keegan works with us on Medicare. So this is part of our overall conversation. When you come to our office, we do a retirement plan for you, tax strategies, required minimum distribution layout, Social Security optimization plans, and last but not least, we want to make sure if you have major incomes, maybe special years where you sell a rental property, which we've seen a lot of it happen in the last couple of years, guess what? You might now get hammered with IRMAA. What is
There's
IRMAA?
a 2-year look back. Yes, go
Two-year
ahead.
look back.
Yep.
Income-related monthly adjusted amount. So that means your Medicare premium can go from right now at about $187 to about $600. Imagine that for you and your spouse for the next 2 years. You can file exemptions in some cases, but we worked with a few of our clients that were new clients who worked with big brokerage firms and banks.
Prior to you. Yeah.
Nobody told them
Yes.
that they could file an exemption when they sell one property and get one unique event in their life. It's possible that some of these can actually be filed and your Medicare premium doesn't go up. So yeah, Medicare is another major, major complicator to your overall tax system.
For sure. And again, this is why you can't afford to look at any of these pieces of your financial puzzle in isolation from each other, because how you make a decision in one area of your financial life can and will affect all the others. So again, the invitation we're offering to you, our viewers today, is to call and schedule your time to come in and meet with the team of Swiss American Financial Solutions to receive your very own complimentary smart and ready retirement plan. Who doesn't want to be smart and who doesn't want to be ready, right, Jurek?
Exactly. Yes, so true.
Yes. So to get that plan in place for yourself, all you need to do is call the number on the bottom of your screen, 855-620-2567. Or again, you're welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We've covered the decade of your 50s. We've covered the decade of your 60s. When we come back, it's time to talk about some key important decisions and milestone birthdays in your 70s. Stay with us.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Swiss Money Solution. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Jurek Eichmann, and a great conversation we are having today called Mark Your Calendars, Important Milestone Birthdays for Your Retirement Planning. If you're just joining us, we've covered the decade of your 50s. We've covered the decade of your 60s. Congratulations, you're now age 70. So Jurek, just to wrap up the Social Security conversation, age 70, if you haven't started claiming Social Security yet, now's the time, right?
You definitely have to. There's no choice. Like you said earlier, it doesn't increase anymore.
Right.
Okay? So there's a big difference, which, by the way, I want to mention something else. If you ever get invitations that say, learn the secret of how to make more, 80% or 82% more of your Social Security benefits, come and see us. Well, I can save you an hour-long conversation and just a life insurance or annuity or whatever pitch. If you wait from 62 to 70, there's your secret.
There you go.
That's all there is.
That's how you
82.
maximize, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's really it. Anyway, long story short, at 70, obviously, you have to start taking that Social Security benefit, whether you want it or not. And who doesn't want a high Social Security
Exactly.
benefit?
Well, and you bring up a good point, because there's a lot of talk about maximizing Social Security, and clearly waiting till age 70, that's how you maximize it, right? But really the important question to ask yourself is, how can I optimize my Social Security for me? And that's why for some people it might make sense to claim prior to age 70, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So ideally, if you see your advisor early and you have enough Roth IRA conversions in place, you might actually get to the point where your Social Security benefit might barely be taxed, right? There's a good, that's something you can really do. So being early and being smart about it is great, but guess what? It's never too late. Never.
Yeah.
I just want to also mention, I recently saw a study where they said, who are the happiest people? The people in their 70s. Because they're still relatively fit in most part.
Yep.
They don't spend time with people they don't like anymore.
Right.
So they excluded all that, and they're considered the happiest generation right now living.
That's really neat to hear, and gives a lot of folks things to look forward to, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, there is another key birthday, though, that people need to be prepared for. We've touched on this, but age 73, which is also known as your RMD age, those required minimum distributions. Why is this such a critical age for folks to pay attention to?
Right. By the way, the RMD is not funny. All these abbreviations, like, right?
I know. This whole industry is
RMD,
filled.
403B,
Right.
IRA, Roth
Yeah.
for IRA. I always say, like, I'm the president of the AASA, the Association Against Stupid Abbreviations. You know, it's just like it never ends.
Right.
People don't understand it, which makes
Yeah.
it, of course, incredibly complicated.
And it's almost like the government wants to trick people up, right? Because with the RMDs in particular, they are no laughing matter when
Yeah.
it comes to how you could be penalized if you don't handle them correctly.
Right, and even people we work with for years, they call us, what do I need to do with that? MDR or MRDs. And people just can't remember it. But it is an important point. It's not laughable, not really ridicule it, of course. But what you mentioned, that age 73 is so important.
Right.
Because at 73, you have no choice, okay? You have to start taking money out of your pre-tax retirement plans. And guess what? We found out that over 70% of RMDs withdrawn in the last decade were involuntary. In other words, that means you can clearly tell that how many people have no financial plan, no real retire plan. They just invested without any plans, no path forward. They just invested. Instead of having a clear plan where it says, you know what, I got to make sure that I have to take out as little as possible by the time I reach this age, so I don't have to take a withdrawal I don't really need.
Well, because here's the problem, right? Even if you don't need that money to live off of, it's required. It's in the name. And if you don't take the RMD or if you don't take it correctly, you could be hit with an additional 25% penalty from the IRS on top of the tax you owe on that money. It's a huge gotcha for people who don't have a solid plan in place leading up to that important age.
Well, you mentioned 25. Guess what it was until last year?
I know. It used to be 50.
5-0. The government, in its infinite wisdom, said, you know what? The older people get, the more they remember stuff. Their brain works better, so let's really punish them and make 50% penalty mandatory. So I always say it's an outrage. And I was so outraged for the last 20 years. Maybe somebody hurt my brain waves and they finally said, okay, we'll fix it. But it's only 25% now.
We don't want anyone to have to pay it.
If you have $10,000 you have to take, are you willing to give to Uncle Sam 25%? By the way, why do we call it Uncle Sam? I thought relatives supposed to be nice to us.
Right.
I don't understand that. So I still think it's an outrage. You want to make sure you don't miss that. And that's just the number one priority that you should have. And guess what? Like you said, it's your responsibility at the end of the year.
Exactly. But this is what you do for folks day in and day out. So the good news is if any of this is new to you, you don't have to go it alone. The team of Swiss American Financial Solutions would love to be able to help and serve you. So Jurek, thank you so much for sharing today.
Thanks for
having
us.
And to our viewers at home, you don't have to go it alone. We encourage you to reach out so that you can schedule your complimentary Smart and Ready retirement plan. 855-620-2567 is the number to call. Thanks so much for being here. We look forward to being back with you next time here on the Swiss Money Solution.